contest from another era.
Another future is possible.
Keir was the architect of the Remain position, which cost were 52 seats in the north of England.
What do you want from the next Labour leader?
Someone that's honest, as Jeremy Corbyn was, but with the personality and the show-busy bit to be able to compete with the rest of the idiots that are out there.
A competition answering yesterday's question.
We need to leave behind the bitching and the backbiting.
Everyone was arguing about a future that will bear no relation now to the one that we face.
It is a fork in the road. If people think more of the same is going to cut it, frankly, it won't.
But maybe after that December election result, leaving behind much of the recent past is for the best.
And we saw them numbers come up, and it was literally as if the ground fell away. And a little voice said, Rebecca, maybe they don't want socialism.
When this contest began in December, vastly inflated welfare payments for millions and unparalleled government intervention was a Corbynite dream, not a Tory reality. And after the election drubbing in December, frankly, Labour looked as if it could do with a bit of social distancing with itself. Now, the ballots for the leadership contest were mostly cast before coronavirus hit hard. Does that help or hinder the new Labour leader? The story of the last 4 months has been how Jeremy Corbyn's fearsome political network, Momentum, key unions and an enlarged Labour membership really struggled to dominate the leadership conversation. Yet, to listen to some on the left, you would have think that they'd achieved their goals.
The centre of gravity overall has shifted, and in some ways, I think from the left, we've won the argument.
But Labour hasn't won the argument, judging by the worst election defeat for the party since 1935. And some on the left were struggling to even accept December's election result.
To be honest with you, I don't trust the results. I really don't, and I can't prove it. Nobody can, or we would sure be trying to. But come on, the postal vote fiasco.
Since December, many Jeremy Corbyn fans explicitly haven't wanted change.
For next Labour leader, I want kind of continuity.
But many unions, including loyal supporters of Corbyn through tough times, disagreed that opposition is a price worth paying for purity any longer.
It is a fork in the road. If people think more of the same is going to cut it, frankly, it won't. And I would say to those people, what are you really interested in? Are you interested in power? Because that's all my members are interested in. They don't want another 5 years, let alone another 10 years of Conservative rule.
Talk to Labour MPs and peers. Look at polling. The fork was a contest with Keir Starmer and Lisa Nandy on one side and Corbynite favourite Rebecca Long-Bailey on the other. What difference would having Rebecca Long-Bailey as leader make compared to the others?
Future of the Labour Party. What is it that Rebecca Long-Bailey offers that has understood why we went backwards and is going to change it? I haven't seen anything.
Do you think you'll resign?
Since December, many Jeremy Corbyn fans, who in this contest were turning out in droves to support Rebecca Long-Bailey, explicitly didn't want change. But the candidate favoured by Jeremy Corbyn's allies said this defeat was not about substance.
It's a matter of communication about our policies, and I think we didn't have a campaign that A, had a message, or B, picked out certain policies that were popular and tried to package them in a way that would be articulated to our communities properly. But we were also faced with a backdrop of other issues such as Brexit, such as anti-Semitism, such as division within the party.
We've got to rise again and understand how we've actually shifted politics to the left.
Even her supporters admitting it's more about who is making the promises than what they are promising.
To be perfectly honest, I've got more trust in Rebecca Long-Bailey than I have in Keir Starmer to carry out and continue with the policies which we've pursued for 5 years.
The race to replace Jeremy Corbyn gives clues about what a new leader faces, with Keir Starmer and Lisa Nandy spending the contest pledging unity. Another Corbynite favourite, this time for the deputy leadership, used his platform to remind audiences who was unfaithful to Jeremy.
So just as I'll never forget the way you stuck by Jeremy, the way you stuck by our socialist politics, the way you stood by our anti-austerity, anti-war internationalist politics. In the same way, I'll never forget those who let us down. I'll never forget those who betrayed us. I'll never forget those who handed the victory to the Tories on the plate in 2017.
That, to a packed hall, was the leading next-generation Corbynite, with John McDonnell smiling on approvingly. Is Richard Bergen really helping the next leader by revisiting who resigned from the shadow cabinet in the 2016 coup against Jeremy Corbyn?
I don't think Keir should have resigned. I don't think Lisa Nandy should have done the same. I don't think she should have then chaired Owen Smith's campaign to remove Jeremy Corbyn. But ultimately, they let the members down. Those Labour MPs let the members down. They turned what was a crisis for the Conservative Party, with David Cameron on his way out, into a crisis for the Labour Party. As far as I'm concerned, that was absolutely awful. And an insult, really, to Labour members across the country, but also to Labour voters who rely upon us remaining united.
John McDonnell too does the blame game, albeit characteristically more in sorrow than anger.
Both Keir and Lisa were part of the coup against Jeremy Corbyn, so I do take that into account.
But voting members in this contest haven't been able to see that much difference between the contenders.
The policies are pretty similar between them, and that's what really matters.
The question of this leadership contest was going to be whether or not Keir Starmer and Lisa Nandy needed to endorse quite so much of Jeremy Corbyn's manifestos, given that they lost 2 elections. Given the grip that Momentum and Corbynite allies appeared to have on the party, it seemed like a reasonable assumption. But has coronavirus wiped clean more of Jeremy Corbyn's legacy, for good or for ill? If the left decide not to fight the present, they can point to the past and claim victory. How much do you think that this leadership election is a referendum on Jeremy Corbyn?
I think if it's a referendum on Jeremy Corbyn, he's already won, because if you look at the policy consensus in this contest, all the candidates are saying they're in favour of public ownership of rail and kind of core utilities. All of them are saying they're in favour of scrapping tuition fees. All of them are kind of anti-austerity now. Those positions weren't party positions when Jeremy took over as leader.
British politics and the landscape of the nation has changed beyond recognition once more. The new Labour leader, inheriting a party further to the left at any point than since Michael Foot, is now having to navigate how closely to work with Boris Johnson and working out what an opposition does in a national emergency. It is a course to the unknown. Sam Coates, Sky News.